Hello and welcome back to another episode of KSP POV, where we play Kerbal Space Program in first person. In the last episode, I mentioned how we were going to be doing some satellite missions, more communications network, more ScanSat stuff, but that didn't quite go according to plan. A lot of it ended up in failure, and rather than doing it as its own standalone episode, I decided to just combine this with the following episode and just kind of give you just a brief look at what happened. So this is going to be our newest version of our ScanSat. We have 3 contracts that this is going to fulfill, or at least was going to fulfill. You can see we're also putting communication dishes on there, the new ones that we recently unlocked. Those are 10 gigameter ones. I skipped through a lot of the building because it doesn't really matter. Here I use the test simulator to make sure that it works. But when I do it for real, something happens with it, and it doesn't scan. I get the little icon that shows me that it's scanning, but as far as the contract goes, none of it is actually counting. I fast forward time quite a bit, and nothing. I try at both altitudes for each of the different experiments, but still nothing. So I don't give up on that. Instead, or I do put that aside, and I work on the next version of just the regular communications network, which is roughly the same thing, just without all the scanning materials, and of course added lights for stability and control and good luck. So I go ahead and do a simulation of the lifter, make sure that that works, gets us to orbit, and it does. We don't have a problem with that. It's later down the line that we have problems with this one. But as you can see here, everything is a very standard, typical takeoff. So when I do it for real, of course I was doing it in the mission control room. Only my tests were in third-person view. But the ship works exactly as intended. We go ahead and we get ourselves out, and the goal is to get ourselves between the MUN and what would potentially will be min-miss. And these are 10 gigameter communication dishes. Oh yeah, we utilize the nuclear engines that we unlocked. Of course, leading to longer burn times, to my dismay. But anyways, we have 10 gigameter communications dishes on there, so we should have enough range to cover everything that we need here. But for some reason, I could not get a signal. Everything was deployed. Everything had electricity. It keeps looking like I'm making connection with things, but I'm not. And I would make connection every now and then. Every so often, I would get a little piece, and then I would try to desperately plot a maneuver and execute it using the flight computer. But in the end, I lost control of it, and it's just going to be a very expensive piece of space trash. So, in fast forwarding time, I realized we were very close to discovering a new planetary or celestial body, I should say, because we're using the research bodies mod. That's what this telescope is provided by. We don't get to see all the celestial bodies all at once. We have to research them, and we spent somewhere along the lines of like 4 years in game, 3 years in game to research. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this out. I wasn't really sure if I needed it or not, but I decided to start building it anyways. And it's a very confusing craft. For some reason, it kept saying that it didn't have enough electrical charge, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing here. Here you see me make another one of the little nuclear propulsion systems. But Yeah, so this telescope is supposed to help find celestial bodies. Alright, so this is basically it. If you were to, oh yeah, throw on some lights and a camera, of course, because this is a probe, so we're going to be using the mission control room. I name it the Copernicus 1. Hopefully it can live up to its title. If you were to ask me, hey Legion, why didn't you put that into a fairing? Why just launching it like that? And I would say to you, I have no idea. That was past me, and I am not responsible for past me's actions. I am present me, and I can't tell you why I did that. But here we go. Let's launch it anyways. This is the first time I've actually had my camera pointed forwards on a liftoff, so it's interesting to see the aerodynamic forces when I eventually tilt down. There we go. It was pretty interesting to see the aerodynamic forces, because normally I'm just pointed towards the ground and watching our boosters. This was fun. It was like being a part of the rocket. So yeah, the Pila engine just rapidly taking us up to the apoapsis we need. Our thrust to weight ratio is pretty high. And before long we pass the 40 kilometer mark and the heat starts taking effect. And then the heat starts taking a lot more effect. Oh, we're not even at the 40 kilometer mark. We're only at 15 kilometers and the heat's taken over this much. So when eventually my computer freezes, I go, oh no. And that is the end of that rocket. The rest of it will probably end up being space trash, or will collide with the ground. So in doing all the fast forwarding of time with the satellites, I realized I'm only 2 days away from unlocking the research. So I can go ahead and just fast forward some time, flash on by, and then we go and look. And instead of Minmus, we have found Jewel and Tylo. No disrespect to the team researching or anything, but I was expecting Minmus. I can't really do much with Jewel and Tylo at the moment. I need more science for that. So instead, I upgrade the mission control room to its final stage, and that allows us to take an unlimited amount of contracts. Unlimited with an asterisk. But so I go in here and I start grabbing anything that would make sense. I don't grab the contracts to search the skies and research the planetary bodies simply because that just costs money. It doesn't give you any money or reward or anything. And right now, I don't want to put myself too negative. So I go ahead and grab some other stuff, some tourist stuff. And for some reason, even though we've been failing this whole episode, investors want to give us their money. They want us to potentially build a space hotel or a casino of sorts. So we go ahead and take that contract. But then we realize we don't even have the parts to get them onto a rover. We don't even have the seats. So luckily we had 400 science that we could unlock those parts with. But of course, we are playing with TAC life support, so that means that these Kerbals are going to need snacks and water very soon. Or, instead of going home, they'll just, die. Just die on the KSC grounds. And we can't have that. So let's get to work building our little shuttle. We'll take them around town. I used this ASET seat. I was expecting to be able to go into first person with it, but I was not, and unless I'm missing something. I thought you were supposed to be able to, but not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, how to access it, or maybe I'm missing a dependency. But so I go ahead and put on these little tent-shaped solar panels. I didn't exactly like the look of it, but it was, at the same time, it wasn't bad either. So just a KSP Shuttle 1, no need for a fancy name. And of course, a reaction wheel on the bottom. Once we learned that from one of the previous episodes with our Busy Bee Rover. And then so this is where I find out that I can't control it from the front seat. I wanted to be able to control it through the eyes of a Kerbal, but alas I cannot. So we are going to shift gears and make it controllable. Not controllable, but make it so that when we utilize the mission control room, we can see what we're doing. So we go ahead and we put on a little third-person camera to look down on the Kerbals as they drive. It's still going to be a pilot driving it. The camera and everyone in mission control is basically just supervising. So we go ahead and grab our newest pilot, Arlie Kerman. She's hasn't had any missions yet. This is her very first task, and she's a little irritated that she's been told you have to drive these investors around, and so she goes on the launch pad. She decides it would be closer than doing the runway, but she also miscalculates how long it actually is. But she is loving this new machine. She got a chance to watch the Busy Bee Rover do the Baobab mission, and was impressed by the 4 meters per second, 6 meters per second that it was able to get up to. But with these new wheels and shocks, easily coasting at 12 to 14 meters per second without any loss of control. Although she did start to drift to the left there, almost came off the little ramp. So now she's got to just go pick up the investors. She was kind of blasé when the administration was telling her where they were and how to pick them up. So she kind of forgot. Wasn't really sure. She was driving towards one of them, but decided to take a left turn as she went over the mission log and try to figure out where they were. Of course, they were losing resources the longer that she took. Before she got there, she realized that she had no need to have her helmet on, and having the lights on would probably look better for the program. But of course, she had yet to learn how to brake, and so she ended up driving forwards and backwards trying to figure out how to stop the thing. And after a little bit of struggle, everyone figured out how to move correctly, get into a seat. And so now we're just picking up the next investor. And the contract states that we need to show these investors all the different buildings that are a part of our program, and we have a specific order that we need to deliver them into. Take them and show them and give them the tour. And this Kerbal decides to give a nice little salute as the shuttle passes by. And has a little less trouble getting into the seat than the other Kerbal. And now we're off. So the first building is going to be the administration building. I have them all marked down on as the names of the action groups. The action groups don't actually do anything, but we wrote them down just to kind of keep an eye on them, so we wouldn't have to have the mission log. See, there they are right there. So Arlie's first mission first stop is the vehicle assembly building, or the spaceplane hangar. Sorry. And she shows him the back of it, and it's like, oh, there it goes. But Mission Control is like, hey, you can't just show them the back of the spaceplane hangar. You have to go around front and give them the actual view. And then so she brings them around front, and it's like, here's the same thing but with a door on it. Are you happy now? And Mission Control said, yes, we are. So go ahead and continue on to the next location. And that would be the administration building. So instead of driving through the KSC campus, she decides to go around down the little hill through the grass. And the investors say, hey, what happened to all the grass here? And Arlie says, oh, they're supposed to be getting a new shipment pretty soon. There'll be plenty of grass. Don't you worry. So the administration brings up a map to try to keep track of the group, but it really doesn't give enough information because it's at that height. It's too barren to really see specifically where everybody's at. And the investors say, what was that about shipping in grass? And Arlie says, well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but apparently the administration got themselves some of that parallax, and it'll be here shortly. And we'll have some grass, and it'll be more interesting to look at than this place. And then the administration says, hey, Arlie, your microphone's on, we can hear you. And then Arlie says, shoot. Well, what I meant to say was, here is the administration building. There it is. Over there, on the right. Anyways, let's keep going. The administration was looking in their logs, and they're like, wait a minute, Arlie didn't drive close enough, they have no idea. And the investors say, that's right, we have no idea what we were just looking at. So Arlie's like, fine, drive back to the administration building, show you the freaking building. It's just a little portable out here with nothing really interesting to look at. You want to see the administration building? There it is. Alright, let's go. Next stop, Astronaut Complex. And, you know, if you really want to get such a close look, here you go. Here's the freaking Astronaut Complex. And then the investors say, no, we want to see it, just not so close. That was too close. So she turns around, so that way she can take them to the appropriate spot and get the check mark off on her mission log. Then you gotta go to the research and development labs. It's like, look, here's all the science geeks. And she looks away for a second and smacks in the wall. Everyone puts their head in their hands and they're like, oh, the paperwork we're gonna have to do. Oh, and then they hit again. Twice the amount of paperwork they're gonna have to do. Arlie says it's okay. That's the nature of research and development. You smash things against the wall and see what works. And apparently, this rover works. So then she points out, and she's like, that is the vehicle assembly building. That's where everything vertical gets built. It goes straight up. You point it towards space, and that's where it goes. Most of the time. It's not really anything to see unless you actually go on the inside. It's just a big old building with some doors. So, you see it? Good. Let's keep moving. Last stop, and then Arlie can get off this thing, stretch her legs, and have some snacks. She is done with this. She wants to be in a plane or a space shuttle or something. She wants to, get her wings going. And she still is bitter that her first mission is just driving these people around. So as she comes up to her last section, She introduces the tracking station, state of the art. We got 3 radar dishes. You see them right there? Alright, nothing else to see. She hits the bare minimum to complete her mission, and then pulls over the car and leaves them there. Much like Arlie, we are going to be leaving you here as we end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please consider giving me a like, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.